Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to Blurrgs A Bounty, the only Mandalorian discussion show hosted by the Imperial Senate Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Ashby, and joining me today are my fellow Bounty Hunter Guild comrades. First up, it's our lovable Lego King, Nicky Kumar.
Hi everyone, I can't feel my hands.
Who you with there, Nicky?
Oh, I got El Rey himself, Robert Rodriguez, and little Grogu hanging out too. So yeah, we're just having a good time.
Oh. Chilling out on the Razor Crest. I would say be careful. Maybe you might want to take a walk for a few moments.
Yeah, take some valuables with me.
Yeah. I definitely would recommend that. Also joining us is the Queen Quackian herself, Clare Stribling.
Hello, my loyal subjects. How's it going?
Doing good? You still got Gizmo with you?
I do. Well, if you watch any of the content that came out last night for the Imperial Senate Podcast or for Kessel Run Transmissions, I got my butt kicked by this cat. He was out of control. I got bit. I got leaped upon, all on live YouTube content. Because he was real pumped. Because when you start recording video, and wake up at a weird time and start recording video right before the automatic feeder is gonna go off, roughly 45 minutes. Ooh. It was quite a day. So I had Gizmo here. I was literally just like, don't get me. Like following him, like attack the gremlin. Do not attack me. But other than that, everything's been pretty cool.
He's staring into my soul right now. I'm terrified.
He does do that. Oh, now he's sick of your shit. So.
That's me. I mean, he's the counselor right now. You got.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, speaking of royalty, we are also joined by two beloved content creators and hashtag big names in the Star Wars fandom. It's Mollie and Alex Damon.
Hi.
Hashtag big names.
I like that way better than royalty.
Yeah.
To me, the royalty.
To me, they're big names. This is why we need to write Star Wars ourselves. No, but yeah, we're all here to talk about chapter 14. And then I have to admit, let's just get this out of the way before we dive in. Every time you watch a new episode of The Mandalorian, I feel like the title sets a standard for the episode. It sets a theme. So when you see the words "the tragedy," how scared were we?
Oh boy!
My heart literally dropped. Like I had to catch my breath. I was like, "No, it's happening."
I just said, "Oh shit." That's.
Mine was more like a try not to. I was trying to process it, but I was like, yay, because that's a great flashback last week. That's cool. Oh no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, yeah, the tragedy. They know how to. That's when a show is good, is when they get you by the title.
Honestly, I was watching that recap, and I was like, Boba Fett, we're getting Boba Fett, and then so high, so ready to go, like yes. It's Fett time, baby. And then that title card hit. And then reality got in real quick. Like, oh no. I don't want this. Whatever this means cannot be good. Mm-mm.
I've had heartburn since I read that. Just 9.5 hours of heartburn.
Not good.
Yeah, I think the whole of fandom was just terrified for our little baby. You can't just give us a name and then threaten the baby. It's horrible. But yeah, what were our main thoughts on the episode? Let's just get that out of the way as well. Obviously, the big boy's back, Boba Fett. I'm shook. I'm shook still.
Hashtag big name.
He's a very big name.
One of the biggest, arguably. Now go ahead, guys.
I really, really enjoyed it. I'll say it went about the way I thought it would. I was kind of like, yeah, I bet they're gonna get to Tython. It feels like we need to get there quick in order to basically get the baby in danger. Like I had the idea that Din will put him on the stone. I just figured he'd use the Force and go to sleep, and then like they'd get attacked, and the baby wouldn't be awake to help out, and he would be taken. So I didn't guess Boba Fett would be in play at all, but the big beats, I was like, that's basically how I thought it would go, except for also the Razor Crest. That shocked me.
Yeah. That might be the tragedy that they spoke of.
Yeah, because we know the baby's fine. It's like we know. I mean, Mollie is full of anxiety right now, but he's gonna be fine. The Razor Crest is gone.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm saying is that there is a Mon cow out there with a lot of fishnets ready to go.
All I know is I can dump the pieces out of the Lego set that I've yet to build, and it'll be screen accurate now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I talked about just picking it up, our fully built one, and throwing it out the window because I was like, why do we even have this?
Yep. It's canon.
It's canon.
Exactly, yeah, it's canon. Just smash it up. If you see a kid with a new Hasbro toy, smash it up and say it's canon.
I
Don't be a
also
Sid.
really enjoyed this episode. I predicted that it was going to be short and action packed, and it definitely was. Wasn't expecting Boba Fett when the Slave One flew by. I was like, that was that ship, right? Yeah, I saw that, right? You saw that? I saw that. Yeah. Man, and yeah, just.
Well, you were someone that like this whole time has been kind of anti Boba Fett. So how did you
have been
feel?
too.
I have come around since the Marshall episode, and you were still like iffy on it. So, but you said you liked it.
Yeah. Well, I will agree. Like when he gets the armor back on, and he like comes in and freaking saves the day and takes out those two ships, and just kind of like looks back. It's like that walking away from an explosion moment. That kind of, yeah, that stole the show, which I said I didn't want Boba Fett to do, but I'm allowing it for the one episode, just because it was so badass. I was literally giggling to myself because I was like, this is all happening, and it's really fun to watch. But
yeah, I love Boba so much. I mean, I was about to get this out, but I think Nicky's going to beat me in a second. I had my little fella here, little Lego Boba. But Nicky, do you want to show us what you've done?
Yeah,
Outdo everyone?
I guess I can. Let me turn Robert and Grogu off for a second. There we go.
Show up.
Superior Boba Fett is the skirt Boba Fett. The man with gaffy stick. The man can piss wherever he wants because he's got a skirt. He doesn't give a shit. And that's how skirts work, right?
I got bad news, Nicky.
But anyway, he's looking great, and he's ready to smash some heads of
brush some teeth.
Brush some teeth. That's a very aggressive teeth brushing. But yes.
I mean, yeah, I love Boba so much, and I've been beating a drum specifically for the last, I guess, 5 years on Twitter about the whole Django Boba of it all, and how I feel like there is still a way of him being a Mandalorian. Because this is what I don't get. Like, people are willing to disagree with me and side with one of the worst prime ministers ever of Mandalore. Like, don't trust that douche. Like, trust me. Like, you know me. But yeah, I really did like the. I guess it's not really a retcon, more of like a bit more information, context around the whole Django situation. And I really did like that it ties into Din's backstory and how he can relate to Boba that way.
It's a foundling, baby.
Cool.
Also, can I give a moment of appreciation for Dad Bod Fett? He back. He thick.
Yeah.
He looks good. He looks so good. When I saw, you know me, I cry at a lot of things, heavier at others, but I've never been a big Boba Fett person. You know, he's not really been my cup of tea in a lot of ways, and watching Tamara Morrison and his beautiful, like, that is the one way to get me 100% on board with the Fett. And like, honestly, I wasn't even as excited about seeing Boba Fett tearing things up, by the way. Incredible action in this episode. The thing that I was most excited about was Tem's back in Star Wars, guys. And my heart was just like, I'm just so happy right now. It's just, and then to say the words Jango Fett on screen, I was just like, my heart, it swells. I'm so happy.
I'm just a simple man.
I'm just a simple man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved it.
Oh, my heart. And to like watch Boba Fett, who, you know what, has many reasons to dislike the Jedi and the Force users in general, you know, had decapitating your dad, you know, but also being true to his word and being like a good guy and sitting there going like, I will honor our agreement and I'm going to go rescue that little Force using punk with you. So cool. So cool.
I have so many thoughts about Boba Fett. Like, this has been the shortest episode, I think, of the series and maybe my longest review of at least this season, because I just like, there's so many things about Boba Fett. I do think that it was a bit of a retcon, only because like George Lucas and Dave Filoni back in the Clone Wars were pretty adamant that Boba Fett and Jango Fett were not Mandalorians. And I still love the whole like, yeah, it's just Olmec being a snob, being like, no, they're not real Mandalorians. I'm on board with all that. But I feel like I have been looking into what George and Dave have been saying for years, and I finally just accepted the fact that they're not Mandalorians and it's fine. I let that go. And then like the very next day, it's like, no, we're foundlings. And I was like, what was that emotional bridge I had to cross for? Just like, I didn't have to do that at all.
Yeah, Dave's like, it's fine. He's a foundling. I like the sort of nod to the is it Open Seasons, was that comic book when you saw Jango and like Montrose and stuff. So many like flashbacks to 6-year-old Charlie reading a comic book and be like, oh, this is so cool. There's loads of Mandalorians.
My general feeling about the episode was that 2020 has been a hard year for everyone. Had a rough couple weeks myself. Baby, this was the vaccine right here. Episode chapter 14 was like, come here. You know that video going around of the doctor go with the baby going boop ba doop doo with the, and he gives him the shot. Chapter 14 was the shot, and you know they're just blowing bubbles in our face. And yeah, I needed this. I needed this one. I needed this one big time. And I was so excited when they announced Robert Rodriguez as a season 2 director. And I was just like, all I need from him is a shootout. Just a cool
shootout.
Boy, did he deliver. And he's also why I'm wearing 2 hats, because Robert Rodriguez, fellow Longhorn alum, and
here we go.
And also son of San Antonio, Robert Rodriguez. We are here. We are seen. Central Texas boys for life.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, this episode was a lot of amazingness. Yeah, and going back to the Razor Crest, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Razor Crest is the Queel of season 2. Not emotionally prepared for that death.
Yeah,
I gasped. Like, I would not have ever guessed that they would destroy. It's kind of like the Falcon, where I'm like, yeah, this is already an iconic ship. It'll be around forever.
Yep.
And when he picks the little ball out from the ashes, my whole body just went, whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how good is that ball? Like, that's
Beskar ball.
Beskar ball.
Ever since season or episode 3, it's just become like such a symbol of meaning, and it's
Mhm.
just a little metal ball, and we all love it so much.
Yeah, he just like pockets it, and then he picks up the spear. He's like, "Oh, this is all that's left. I'm not crying under my helmet."
R.I.P. pulse rifle thing.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P.
Oh no.
I think Favreau has always been like colder on it ever since George was like, I don't care about that. Remember in the gallery when he's like, George, look what I made. And George is like, oh, I don't like the holiday special. And he's like, oh,
Well, I guess I'll blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just-
Is this what you wanted, George?
There's one frame, if you pause it at the right time, when the Razor Crest is exploding, it says George did this.
Yep.
You gotta pause it, but
I'm also
Very
gonna
hard to
make-
catch, but you might find it.
It's
also gonna
spelled
make
out in
one
the
other-
smoke.
It's spelled out in the smoke.
You gotta pause at the right time.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, one other bold statement I need to make. Anybody who's been clowning on Boba Fett since 1983, you gotta stay quiet for the next 3 weeks. That's the payment you gotta make, because yeah, finally 40 years later, Boba finally lived up to his hype.
And I'm one of those people, not since 83, clearly. I've not been alive that long, but as someone who has clowned on Boba Fett quite a bit, yeah, there are no jokes, no haha funny moments to be had about that. He literally crushed a stormtrooper helmet with a stick this week. I have nothing to say. I have
really
nothing to say.
dug some of those shots of the gaffy stick.
It was very
Mhm.
Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, he did a really great job with this episode, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen some people throwing around like fan film feel, but I kind of almost feel like that's on purpose. Just the fact that it's outside in broad daylight, like that's every Star Wars fan film takes place in the forest. And it's
Mhm.
just like that's what you got to do.
The
And
hills
so
of
I feel like
Southern California.
right. I feel like this could have had a very fan film feel, but he elevated it to a much better point. And like he made half of Grindhouse. Like
Yeah.
this felt a bit like a Grindhouse movie, just low budget, explosive violence.
Mhm. The close-ups on Boba's face.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
I was
Yeah.
honestly waiting to see to wait for the credits and read the like stunt performers for Boba, because I was waiting for Danny Trejo to be a stunt performer for Boba, because he was going fucking machete kills on like all those stormtroopers, and like the look on his face when he stabbed that like commander guy with the gaffy stick, he was on fire, and it was just so much fun. And then someone who I'd kept the faith with, Fennec Shand coming back.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
girl.
And
She had
we'll
some
get to that.
Amazing moments. So yeah, it was so
She's
good.
awesome. Let's go right back to the beginning. We'll go through the episode chronologically, and then we can break down a bit more. So obviously we start off the episode with Din and Grogu on the ship. That really, really sweet scene where Din is just saying his name, and Baby
Aw.
is like,
I will never get tired
man.
of that. Of just that. Who, me? Oh.
Don't.
It's almost like they saw everyone on the internet watching that over and over, and they're like, you know what? Let's put this scene in of Din doing that exact thing.
They knew. They knew what they were doing.
The fans aren't sick of it. Grogu ain't sick of it either. Let's go.
That's how you know they have the sauce. Like they have every ingredient down of what we want with
Mhm.
that baby.
He was like, him laughing just took me by surprise. I don't think we've heard Din laugh at
Right.
all.
Mhm.
Oh,
This is very
he's
sweet.
Yeah.
he's like top notch dad mode, and like the
Mhm.
listening to him talk to little Grogu about like you're gonna have to agree to go with them is literally like him convincing himself to let Grogu go with whatever Jedi is about to show up. He's like, okay, I've got to say goodbye to you. You gotta agree to do it. Please just do it. I'm like, oh no, my whole heart. I can't. I cannot.
Well, Alex mentioned it in his review, and it made my heart sink even more when you said that they were basically playing catch.
Yeah.
Like father and
Oh.
son, they were playing catch with the ball. And when he like does the dank ferric, like, is that good or bad? And I guess like Grogu at first thinks it's bad, and he's like, no, I'm proud of you. And I was like,
Oh. My
Oh,
heart.
man.
so sweet.
And then
I
we cut to
can't-
the tragedy.
I can't wait to see an episode in a few episodes' time, or maybe season 3 opener where Din has bought a little speeder bike for Grogu. And he's
It's
like,
like holding
pushing
him
him
to the back.
slowly. He's like, I can't do it. And he turns around and Din is just standing there. He's like, you're already doing it, buddy.
Gotta learn to ride that speeder bike without training wheels, pal.
Training repulsors taking off.
Oh.
That's what, yeah, I definitely want to see that. Then we see them landing on Typhon, a pretty planet that looks remarkably like California. But I still stick with the, if it looks like Earth, but there happens to be a weird Star Wars temple, different planet.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in London and have like a weird, like, Sith temple, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's already
Still with
just
the clock growing
London,
out of
you
it.
know.
Yeah, there's a tube. I mean, they did it with Rogue One, and it's that station looks exactly like that basically. So
Mhm.
yeah, I have no issues with that. I thought it was pretty fun. I'm not well versed with the Old Republic games, so does Typhon look like that in those games, or was it just like taking the name and dropping it out?
It looks a little bit like that, more forested, but really it's labeled as like a mountainous planet.
Mhm.
And we've also seen it in canon, and it was like all snowy and mountainy. So I assume it has various climates.
Yeah,
So
like very Earth.
they went to the Southern California part of the world, and there's probably a more forested part, and there are ice caps and stuff too.
Right.
What an
Like
exciting time for Star Wars planets to have different areas.
Unheard of.
like that.
exactly.
Truly revolutionary.
Like, wow, it's amazing to have different hemispheres and different climates on one planet. That's just crazy
Seems
stuff.
unrealistic to me, guys. Do you think they did like Coachella up there on that Force Rock?
It's like Joshua Tree.
Oh no.
Joshua Tree.
Just like all bottles everywhere. There's like, oh, get this out
Oh
of the way.
no.
I really like the scene where Mando is trying to make the Force Rock work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dooku.
This is exactly why we have the gremlin, so we can attack the gremlin. My God, dude, really?
He's like, yeah, really, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
This is the bit where Clare like willingly gives up the baby to another Jedi.
Yes, this is where there you go. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
He's oh man. That is epic Jabba posing right there.
He is a very fat cat. So no.
Oh, he heard you.
Yeah, how dare you?
Sheesh,
Sorry,
pizza.
He's like, you're talking about dad bods 10 minutes ago, and we're talking about it in a nice way, and then you call me a fat cat. Rude. Sorry. No body shaming. No body shaming, Dukes. Continue. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, boom. Slave One is back. That is the actual GIF I got to use in my reaction review thing was just me saying, "Oh my fuck," which I Slave One is still one of my favorite ships. You got the Imperial Shuttle Tydirium, and Slave One, and seeing that, but also hearing that sound effect. I can tell you, that's when I was like, do you know what? Best episode ever. Whatever. I don't care. You've won me over. Whatever. So cool. We find out Boba Fett has tracked Din over the last few episodes. I'd love to see what he was doing on the fish planet.
Yeah, that's another one of those there's so many questions. Like, you knew Cobb Vanth by name, and you didn't go get your armor that you wanted so badly. Like, why are you tracking Din, who pops up on Tatooine occasionally?
I like to think Boba was like subscribed to like Cobb Vanth's like old OnlyFans or something. And he's like, oh yes, Diddy. Like he just knew him by name. It's like, what's he doing?
He
like,
went to go get it one day and like saw him without the helmet and was like, never mind.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. Like maybe he saw what Cobb Vanth was doing with the armor, and he kind of the fact that he saved that town, and he was like, all right, I'll let him have it for a little while.
He's shy.
I don't think that he's had like a big, urge to come back into the game. And I think that hanging around Tatooine, but you're right, Mollie. I think I also agree that I think that he's like, well, it's doing good. I don't think Boba Fett's like, at least watching this episode, we go from seeing Boba Fett as a cold, unfeeling bounty hunter head down doing his job, much like Din at the beginning of this series, to having a heart and being a man of his word. And I could see him definitely going, well, my armor is doing a lot of good right now. I mean, what am I doing with? What would I do with it right now? Not that, maybe.
Like, the man just wants his stuff back. That's relatable.
It is very interesting to see him here compared to like the comics. They have not been portraying him as even remotely good in the comics.
Yeah.
Granted, they are 6 years before this show, so like he's obviously been through a lot, and I'm down for them to have explained like whatever changes he went through. But I never would have guessed like, yeah, Boba Fett didn't team up. I was like, no, Boba Fett's gonna come back and be a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely always of the opinion that he would have a good arc and that he would be like, because I feel like there's so much, obviously, like the whole point of the show is that we get all this like Mandalorian stuff. Like, what does it mean to be a Mandalorian? Which, with the whole Django stuff is what was kind of there of Boba Fett anyway. And also the major factor is the fatherhood, the child and the parent, which is like so integral to Boba Fett's character. So I was always of the opinion that that would be that way. With the comics, I think definitely in the Star Wars books, he seems the same way he does in the films, where he's just doing a job. Like, I'm sure he doesn't actively want to go out and blind Luke, like beat up, steal everyone's house. But the Bounty Hunters comic, I'm just going to ignore it because it seems out of character sometimes. I'm not a big fan of that comic, so I'm just kind of shrugging that off. But so yeah, like I wasn't too drawn out of it. I liked the way his character acted. I also just, like Nicky said, like I love the idea of him like, look, I just want my clothes back. Okay.
Tired of wearing this dress.
As somebody who has lived with a sister, sometimes when people take your clothes, you don't see them for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
I want my shirt back.
You just write him off as gone for 5 years.
Pretty much.
And then finally, when the opportunity presents itself, you go for it.
It's another question of like, has he been on Tatooine this whole time? Because apparently he had Slave One. So, or has he been traveling? Like, what has he been doing? I'm kind of curious if maybe, well, A, there's rumors of a Boba Fett series that could explore that, or B, we've got the Adam Christopher novel coming out next year. Maybe that's what it will be about. Just like, all right, nerds who need answers, here's the book, read that and you'll be fine.
They know us so well. We always demand the answers.
We find out he's just been doing a lot of therapy.
I hope so.
He's taking up Tai Chi.
Now he's ready to help people and do good.
Like I bought a skirt.
I bought a skirt.
I'm trying all these new things.
Keep that airflow down there.
My moo-moo.
I do like the idea that the Jawas left him. They took all his clothes, but left him with his car keys.
Yeah, that's another one. Like, how did they wind up stealing his armor, but not him? Did he take it off? Yeah, what's going on?
Seriously, if you're going to scrap something for parts, I think the Slave One is also pretty dang valuable. Come on, Jawas.
They felt bad. He's just been eaten.
That's fair.
He had no dignity left. They're just like, leave him that one.
Like,
he doesn't even have a suga.
He's lost his hair. Look, we'll just let him have his car. He can get out.
Maybe he had it parked somewhere really safe.
Probably Jabba's palace.
And hidden.
Maybe the valet still had the keys.
The valet.
I think they took him on a bunch of joy rides.
It's like Ferris Bueller.
Look at me, I'm Boba Fett.
Like, we need, excuse me.
We're like wearing a spare helmet.
Excuse me, I need to see your identification. And he gets like a picture out. It's just a clone. Like it's like that could be anyone, sir.
They accidentally fire the last seismic charge, and they're like, "Oops."
Jabba's palace is gone. It's like half of it left.
Cool though.
Yeah, it sounded great.
Oh my god! If we could hear that again at some point, that's gonna be.
I think it's very possible, considering we're taking Slave One into action next episode.
And there's a lot of. I had to say this morning. There's a lot of Attack of the Clones love in this episode, as we mentioned before. The whole I'm just a simple man making my way in the universe. The whole shots of Slave One. Oh, that's some good stuff.
Good
We
stuff.
were
And
blessed with some
Tem.
of Tem
And just
twins.
Tem.
Oh yeah, just Tem. Yeah, himself.
That's like you said, Claire, just hearing his voice out of the helmet, even though I grew up with like a completely different voice in Empire, it made me feel so good to have him back saying those lines with the helmet on. I was like, this feels right.
I'm also just now realizing how much Fennec Shan reminds me of Zam Wessel.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like her whole look and the like long rifle that she uses.
Yeah.
She was amazing in the episode too.
And
Oh
the
yeah, so
helmet,
glad
yeah.
she's back.
Yeah. I'm gonna just like glaze over the fact that she has a robot stomach now. It's fine, whatever.
I loved it.
I don't care.
It's
Someone
so
said
creepy.
that that's the thing that Sienna has in Lost Stars. Is that right?
It's been so long. I didn't remember.
Yeah, it's been a
I
while.
couldn't remember that she had a metal stomach. That seems like a
When-
I'd have to
big
look.
deal.
No
I mean, if
IBS on
Brea
that girl.
Organa can have what?
Like
But-
robotic lungs. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just whatever. Like Maul has a completely robotic lower half. It doesn't matter. But I was just when she showed her shirt, I was like, here's how I survived. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, of course.
I like the idea that Boba Fett hasn't got armor, but he's got a spare set of robotic intestines.
God,
The
the
man's
prosthetics,
been
man.
working on a PhD in these 5 years in replacing parts and kicking ass.
Been taught by Dr. Mandible.
And he's all out of parts.
Oh, if we can see him again.
That's my head canon. It was all on Tatooine. He
Yeah.
rushed her to Dr. Mandible, and he came out of the cantina drunk, and he was like, "I need help now." Oh, that's perfect. I love it.
He's got a whole like tech shop of stuff. It's like
Oh my god.
I'm half pit droid now. Yeah, I am
More
a
pit droid than me.
self-confessed Fennec stan, so it was really cool to see Ming-Na Wen alive for a start,
Yes.
Yeah.
because when they introduced her and it was like she's the best bounty hunter, but she got killed by
The worst.
yeah, like I think the way I described him is he's the Dash Render to Dash Render. He's douche render. Like I just love the fact that she's here, she's alive, she's thriving. Because sometimes we're not all perfect, and so her and Boba are like, look, I got eaten, you got killed, you got shot nearly to death. We're gonna hang out together and have some
Left
fun.
for dead.
And it was nice to see her actually she's got this reputation that precedes her, and it's nice to see that sharpshooting badassery
Mhm.
in the flesh. And also, like, if there is going to be a Boba Fett spinoff series, that brings the potential of Ming-Na Wen being in it,
Yeah.
Hmm.
which is just
Yeah.
wild, and I would absolutely live for it.
I love the idea
Yeah.
of her being like kind of like Rey in The Force Awakens when she meets Han and Fennec's like, "Oh my God, you're Boba Fett!" like of course she would know Boba Fett and how like legendary he was, and it's kind of cool to think from her point of view what it's like to be rescued by like the greatest of your time. And I think it's really exciting, and I think someone can probably go back and check the ISP tapes, but I feel pretty optimistic that she was coming back.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was Ming-Na Wen's just still too jazzed about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like to be dead, like she's just way too excited still. So I think it feels really good to have her back, and because it would have felt really weird if she stayed gone, because you don't show I feel like you don't show that last scene of the Gunslinger episode
Right.
and then leave it at that. I mean, it could have just been Boba, and okay, but I think the idea that someone went to like find her is very fulfilled now. So glad to have her back, and who knows what she's gonna get up to in these next couple episodes.
Yeah, and I really did love their sort of sense of honor, because they're bounty hunters, but also like they're not actively going out, I guess, like to kill people because they want to kill people. They have sort of a code there, and I really like the idea of, like, he says, "I guarantee the safety of the child," and he talks about how as soon as the armor is given by my father's forebears. I was like, oh, this is the stuff I've been waiting for. It was also nice to have some sort of solid confirmation that it is Jango's armor.
Mhm. That's cool.
That's another thing that's a bit of a retcon, which I'm totally fine with. Like, if you're gonna retcon a reference book, like whatever. They never said anything in a movie, so.
I mean, it's less poetic when you're saying, "I made this armor. It looks like my dad's." But
It's
pretty
similar.
cool, eh?
It's similar, but it's probably not as good, but it's really good.
I look better
according
in
to the
green.
2014 Visual Dictionary.
Oh no.
Yeah, I really love that. I really love the idea that his father's legacy still lives on within him.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'm like really curious now about the Clone Wars arc that they were gonna do, where he had the shootout with Cad Bane, because like that was where he was gonna get his armor, and we know the helmet has to be different because he blew Jango's up, but I think it would have been interesting to see what they had planned in the Clone Wars for Boba, like maybe repainting the armor or something.
Yeah.
Because Mace has the like shattered helmet, right? In that the cruiser episode.
Or
When
maybe
they're trapped.
maybe Boba like repainted another helmet to look like Jango. So he's like, I'm not gonna blow up my helmet. I'll blow up this other
He's
helmet.
colorblind.
But
He's
two
colorblind.
sets of armor.
He's colorblind. He thinks it's blue. He's like, I want my blue armor back. Dude,
Oh.
like, what are you talking about? It is green.
He's the Christmas Mando.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really like that idea as well. I don't. Maybe you could have reforged it. I guess if it's Beskar, I'm sure you could like melt it down. Maybe like Mace Windu kept it as a souvenir.
Oh, for the record, I do have something to correct for
Oh.
myself. So last week when we talked about the lightsabers on Beskar, and I was like, surely Ahsoka chopped through some Beskar in the Siege of Mandalore. And I rewatched that scene where she's flying through the air, and they're very clear that she slices the jetpacks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I
those
was like,
can be
oh,
damaged
shit.
by metal rods.
Exactly. So I was like, way to go. Okay, so there isn't this wild contradiction of Jedi cutting through Mandalorians like I thought there were. So that was cool to see. So way to go, Beskar, holding up across media.
They've also kind of recently, in the last episode, chapter 13, they talked about pure Beskar. So there's always that like wiggle room where, oh, I don't know, maybe if in the Clone Wars some Mandalorian is stabbed with a lightsaber, it's like, well, their armor wasn't pure Beskar.
Right. Especially when you're mass producing, right? For your armors
Right.
and stuff. Yeah,
Right.
there we go.
It's like a wedding ring. I hope this is pure Beskar. This isn't like
We're gonna scratch it against the glass.
Yeah.
this is 80% nickel.
Oh my gosh.
They just have different grades for the Beskar.
Right. Carrots.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this is 100% pure Beskar. It's like, how dare you? Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool to see like that armor being. I love the retcon of that being Beskar as well. I know like some people were like, but actually it's a plastoid armor. I'm like, yeah, no, that's stupid.
You called
Beskar,
it
baby.
Durasteel or something.
That's in the old reference book said that Jango Fett's armor was Durasteel. And that's why I'm like, it's a bit of a retcon, but it doesn't matter. I'm not bringing that up.
We ain't
It's just-
complaining.
no.
Or just do what I do, where I'm like, oh, it's in universe historian who got it wrong.
Sure.
We see
yeah.
it in real life all the time.
I just like view it as reference books are there to give us answers or fill in gaps when we don't have them in any actual story material. Once a story says something, I'm like, all right, wipe that reference book away. They were just doing their best at the time. It's fine.
Yeah. And like
Just
any
throw
good
it into a fire.
Set it on
burn them all.
fire.
I feel like also any good retcon, you know, if when it streamlines into the story, when it adds like thematic meaning,
Yeah.
I feel like that's always worth it.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's always going to trump whatever came before it, especially if
Mhm.
it's just a reference book. Like, when a creator makes it into a story,
And-
that's you just got to deal with it.
I do
Yeah.
think that there is going to be, as we keep going forward, there's probably going to be a bit of that between story content as well, where we have like our live action content, and that's probably going to trump everything else. And if it contradicts something that happened in a book or comic, go with the live action stuff. And because more people are going to watch a TV series than read every comic and stuff. So it's like, I would love it if everything lined up all the time, but it's just not going to happen.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the whole Cobb Vamp stuff. It's like, if it just about fits, that's fine. That's fair enough. We obviously only see the Imperials arrive on the ship. I really like the design of the ship because it reminded me like it's the Imperial version of the First Order dropships that we see in The Force Awakens. It was nice to see that sort of reverse engineering design work for the OT.
That's not from anything else, right? Like that's a pure.
I don't think so. I think that's new.
Design.
It's new to me.
That's good enough for me. It's new to you.
I might be. I'm like it's probably popped up in something random before, but to me, I was like, "Oh, that's new."
Here comes the comment section.
Like,
yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, those look like the First Order troop transport ships. Cool."
They were like, "Look, we got a cool new design, guys, but we can't really share it because we're not technically an empire anymore."
It also kind of looked like the middle bit of the TIE Reaper. Like with the wings chopped off, like it had that same shape. So I wonder if that's all like sort of derivative of each other.
Those crazy signer folks, they're lovely designs. It's like, oh, just cut the wings off. We'll just resell it. Obviously, the Stormtrooper fight scenes. Rodriguez is amazing at directing fight scenes, so I wasn't really surprised that this was cool. It was nice to see them all fight together.
The Stormtroopers had lots of great lines, like classic Stormtrooper lines.
They're doing a really good job with Stormtrooper lines in this series.
Yeah.
Flank them, you idiot. Was pretty great.
You idiot. Yeah. Oh my god.
That guy, his reaction as soon as the guy got shot was like the best. What was he thinking? It also says something about like I always complain about Hasbro and how they do like release figures and stuff. But I'm a hypocrite because as soon as I saw that captain, I shouted out loud, "Pauldron!" Like, hey, it's a Pauldron. That's cool.
Look at it.
Like,
it's so God. Orange.
He's in charge. Then we had that really cool dude who we saw from the cutout. What sort of stormtrooper was that again?
The artillery guy?
Yeah, the artillery one.
The one that no matter what large object is coming straight in front of him, he's going to stand his ground.
Oh, the E-Web dude, yeah. I was like, you're not going to shoot a rock to death, man.
Oh, man.
He had
played too many video games.
He had not seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you can tell.
Yeah.
That was another thing. I was like, haha, Lucasfilm reference.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, but that whole sequence was awesome. That moment where Boba does that really crazed look into the Razor Crest, he's like, "I'm gonna get my stuff back." I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yes.
He was on such fire. This whole seat stuff, it was so good.
And then obviously we see him come out. He gets his armor back. Can we talk about? I don't know what we're gonna call this, but I'm referring to it in my notes as the knee birds.
Yes,
the knee birds.
I told Alex, I was like, I liked his little knee gun.
I like the assertive stomp that preceded it.
Absolutely.
And then,
I hope he has he's got like elbow lasers. He's got everything. I want to see a complete body armor attack.
Those were also new to me, but I saw some people talking about like, finally we saw the knee gun, and I was like, what? So I need to look up and see how long that's been part of his.
I feel like I remember that on a toy or something. I could be wrong though. But yeah, and speaking of the birds, just shortly before Boba comes in the armor, I loved the Din and Fennec kind of like last stand together. Where like Din was taking the shots and Fennec was like just sniping behind him. I was like, those are some like them badass moments when he just steps onto the rock with whistling birds in one arm, pistol in the other. It's like, yes, this is what I watch Star Wars for.
Finn's constant strategy of like, I'm just gonna get shot a lot because I can. Like,
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
If stormtroopers could aim anywhere else, they'd have him, but they just can't. They're like, "Ah, shoot the shiny thing."
It's so shiny. Let's just shoot it. That was really cool to see him back in charge. Because even though it was cool to see Cobb fight with the armor on, there's just obviously something specific about it being Boba Fett fighting,
Mhm.
having that DNA in him, and just kicking. But I'm not really over it. I'm still just thinking about it in my head, like dazing
lot.
off and just dreaming about him,
Yeah.
being a badass.
I mean, it's that thing you bring up
Did he
Cobb.
also have?
Just gonna
Oh,
say,
yeah.
like when you bring up Cobb, it's like you could tell he was just using it, whereas like Boba understands it.
Mm.
Like that is him.
I'd love to see Cobb like, you have knee rockets?
Yeah, yeah, it was great. So yeah, it's like yeah, it's just kind of like the with the whole way the armor is so embedded in their history, and it showed through the combat.
Mhm.
Definitely.
I just looked up on Wikipedia, like, yep, he's always had knee pads with rocket dart launchers in them.
Nice.
When was this ever said? Why didn't he use it at all?
Let me see if I can find. This was all set up in like legend stuff. First mentioned in the Essential Guide to Weapons and Technology, so that makes sense.
Reference book.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. I love the idea of someone being like, okay.
Where else can I put a gun?
Knee. Yeah, I really love that sort of that fight sequence. I love the I don't know if you could see it properly, but the different rockets he has, like in the classic films. Yeah, I think this rocket was green, which I really loved. The idea that he has like these two different shaped rockets. Just when he feels like it, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a green rocket guy today." Just changing up. I like that. My God, seeing him fight with Din, pretty cool, and Fennec all together. But then we have the bad boys, the Dark Troopers, coming out of the skies.
Iron Man troopers.
And I just want to say,
Very
like,
Iron Man.
no disrespect to everyone, but I was right. They were droids. So
It's particularly
Which, yeah,
great
I think
for
that makes-
Din to be facing
yes,
Mm.
exactly.
droid super soldiers.
Yeah.
Very
Dick
similar
Ferrick.
to the super battle droids.
Mhm.
I like the way that they're kind of building them up, because I wanted them to fight this episode, but they didn't. And it's just like, okay, we got a glimpse of them. Now we got to see them in action a bit, but it's still just like building up this anticipation of finally battling them.
I would love to be the engineer of the Dark Troopers and be like, I came off Gideon. I've finally built you this ultimate design. These are based on the worst like droids in history in terms of like they're very aggressive. These are the best killing machines in the world. What do you want them to do for their first mission? He's like, I need you to kidnap a child.
So pick up a baby and bring him back.
Gently. Don't hurt him.
Don't hurt him. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, as soon as we saw them deploy, I was like, okay, this is terrible because we know what's going to happen. We've seen the title, everything comes in at once. You're like, okay.
And he took off his
isn't good.
jetpack.
That's what I was like, oh, the jetpack is gone. He can't just, because that would have been a really quick episode if that was the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had like a split moment where I thought maybe like the Seeing Stone would just do something crazy and like Grogu would just disappear and he'd be like in the world between worlds or something. Safe and
Didn't even
sound.
Could
talk
you
about
imagine?
the Seeing Stone. All that. We didn't even mention it.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
cool
Till now.
rock.
Yeah, I'm
It's very
I'll be
round.
interested to see like how if we ever get to know what he experienced in that moment
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
how that would be told to the audience. I kept thinking about that last week. Like, how are they gonna express what he sees on the Seeing Stone without Ahsoka there to basically
Translate it,
Translate.
right? Yeah.
Right. And what's gonna
I like-
happen? Like, is somebody just gonna show up to Tython and be like,
Not again.
Rude.
I thought there was a kid here.
It's like a ding dong ditch for Jedi.
Yes.
Oh man.
The Grand Inquisitor done it like 5 times. It's like,
Oh no.
I was interested. That's like, we're going to see Jedi this week, maybe, because I was of the impression that maybe it would just be like a fake out where it's going to be like, okay, Grogu has decided he wants to stay with Din, and that's it. But the way this set it up was like, we actually might get a Jedi. So I'm very intrigued. Unless, like we see in the episode as well, maybe Baby Yoda just kept getting sent to voicemail.
Oh.
Like, hi, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm busy chasing a guy called Ochi at the minute. Call me back.
I mean, I hope I'm the same as you. I kind of want him to choose Din. I feel like the second he gets taken by any Jedi and they part ways, I'm like, well, that's the end of the series. So I hope that's not what happens soon.
I really loved how it sort of started with him like feeling his way around, and then it cuts away, and then you come back and he's in like full like meditative like he looked like Luke on Octo, like just sitting there, right? And I was like, oh my god, he knows what he's doing. It's in, like it's just it's in there, like ingrained in him. He knows how to like just snap into this Jedi state that whatever his little body can remember. And I thought that was really cool.
I would have been totally fine also with him just sitting there playing with butterflies.
Yes. Oh, little butterfly baby. So sweet.
Has Grogu reclaimed the blue butterfly?
I thought about that.
That's my
I was
question.
Like, oh boy, Twitter's gonna be excited.
Hey, I did see some tweets today about it. I think people are like taking that in a way that, you know, too far. Like Ben is like 3, isn't he, at the minute?
Well, someone pointed out to me one of the Charles Soule Vader panels where Vader's like his essence of like in the Force has been, I would show it if I could pull it up quickly, is like he's like nobody's like physically there, but it's like their Force like energy is demonstrated, and there are little blue butterflies around. And like I'm wondering if this is just like a running motif in Star Wars of like this like Force motif of just like
I think someone said that
butterflies.
blue butterflies mean like symbolizes life and renewal or something along those lines. I'm not well in depth with that yet, but I think people have said that. I think that's why they've associated that with Ben, which is interesting. I like the idea of it like continuing through Star Wars. That's a really cool sort of like thematic.
Yeah, like it's more than just this thing in the roll out little cartoon video.
Yeah.
Like it's like if it actually is like this sort of visual, like a sort of touch point of the Force with throughout Star Wars, I think that's really cool.
Maybe they represent a dyad, and Grogu and Din are a dyad in the Force.
So many dyads.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be a dyad.
Once in a generation. Wait, I mean, retcon it.
What do I know?
I've been dead for...
I'm insane.
I'm clearly ill.
Yeah, then we see obviously the ship explode, which was just one of those moments where you're like, what else could happen? We've got 2 episodes left. What on earth could happen next? Because if they can blow up the Razor Crest, anything can happen.
Here, I was clowning on Moff Gideon for only having a light cruiser in the first place. He doesn't even have a real Star Destroyer. So fuck you, Gideon. And also fuck you, Gunner, on that ship, because that thing was parked and they're like, direct hit. It's like, oh, good job, man. Whoever fight, like, way to go. You're in a ship all the way up, that thing is stationary on the ground and they're sitting there applauding over a direct hit. It's like, please.
They haven't seen action in a while, so they're just excited.
I guess that's the only explanation. They're just ready to finally shoot at something.
Yeah.
All the good people died at Endor. These are like temps. That was a receptionist that fired it.
Like,
It's like, direct hit, I did it.
They just said that so that the stormtroopers would hear them and be like, "Why don't you try it sometime?" The whole direct hit thing.
Ew.
I thought that was the microwave. I'm trying to make it funny. Yeah, that was one of those moments where like, I don't know what they could do from now on. And then you see Din like visibly react. Again, it's a lot to say about that mask acting when you can see such emotion, even though obviously it's just the same mask. But the way he physically acted and like sort of like collapsed to his knees and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when it cut to Fennec and Boba looking equally like distraught for him, it really did hit me in the heart. I was like, oh, I really like the idea like they do sympathize and empathize with him, which I really enjoyed. And obviously, all I could think about was in Boba's head, all we can think about is obviously Geonosis and him losing his dad. And obviously, he's like, okay, well, I'm not letting this happen again.
But that's something I really like about this show is when they do bring in characters that like, I mean, there was a fair bit of fan service in this episode that I really enjoyed, but also, yeah, Boba Fett thematically can mean a whole lot. And like, he has his own daddy issues. And I love seeing that they're actually going into that instead of just like, here's Boba Fett and he's awesome. Then that's it.
Yeah. And I was speaking to Saf earlier on Twitter, and because I saw some people saying, oh, this seems very out of character for Boba Fett to care about this. Like, he shouldn't care. And I spoke to Saf, and she made a really great point, and I loved it so much. I asked her if I could actually mention this on this episode, and she said, of course he would look after him. He was raised by one of the best dads in the galaxy. Like, Jango Fett genuinely cared about Boba, and he did raise him. It depends on how you look at it, but I think he raised them pretty well.
He literally is sitting there like, yeah, you can clone my DNA into hundreds of thousands of clone troopers, but I want a kid. And this kid is going to come with me on Slave One. He's going to shoot the rockets, and we're going to be father-son bounty hunting duo.
I love
He's
the
gonna
idea.
cheer me on.
I love the idea of
Get him, Dad.
Fire!
Yes.
Boba's watching Din like pick through all his stuff, and in his head he's just like slow motion, like faded, having the memories of like Jango firing the rocket and him like hey, 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 hey. And that's just his whole life is just those moments, and it all comes back.
I hope he gets to say yep at some point.
I was about to say,
Yep.
I really hope it's going to go like, wait, you're going to help me? Yep.
I mean, also, to whatever degree people think it's out of character, we have several like instances in the Clone Wars where there is a soft boy Boba under there.
That was the whole point of the arc.
Yeah.
Was that he isn't just the straight up killer. And also, like, Din was like that. The whole galaxy was like that because the galaxy wasn't a particularly nice place to be. It wasn't a particularly great place to earn money and stuff. So, like, let him off. The whole Han thing, like, we hate Boba Fett because obviously, as fans of Star Wars, we are friends of Luke, Han, and Leia. But from his point of view, this was just some douche, didn't pay his bills.
To quote Miss Zam Wessel, it's just a job.
Exactly. And yeah, I feel like I really liked seeing him just stay true to his word. And when he was like, no, I'm not going to let this go, I was kind of worried. I was like, oh, I hope they're not going to take this in a negative way. And as soon as he was like, no, look, you listen here. I said, if you give me the armor, you and the child will be safe. The child isn't safe. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. I was like, okay, this is great. And I love that Fennec is along with the ride. And it's not like they're doing it out of some sort of forced respect. They also actually do care. I really like that. I love the team up mode. It just drove me crazy. And then out of nowhere, Boba Fett does like a "Who do you think you are" episode, where he's like plugging Ancestry.com, gets his arm out. It's like, By the way, see me? I'm Boba Fett. This is my dad, Django. I was like,
I wish pictures started coming up. It's just like swiping.
The same picture.
this is Cody. He's my cousin.
This family trips. Like, this is when we went to the moon of Bogdan.
This is me on Genosis.
Oh, not such a good trip.
We got ahead of ourselves there.
This is me hanging out with Tom Wee.
Tonwi, Dad.
Dad, Tonwi's here.
Yep.
I hope he sees some Kaminoan cloners.
I'm telling you that the finale is going to be on Camino. I'm
'cause
telling you now.
We did drop a reference again to our homie Mr. Guy dude, whatever we called him in the last episode.
Oh yeah, Mr. Guy. What's the name?
Mr. Guy,
Pershing.
Dr. Pershing,
Dr. Man.
Dr. Dude. So
Yeah.
he got his hologram moment in Star Wars. It looks like we're gonna get more than a hologram moment for him this season, and it's
Boba's
gonna be
see
nice
that
to see him.
patch. He's
And
gonna
he's
start having
gonna
flashbacks.
flip.
Where is she? What have you done with her?
Like the idea that he's like aggressively defensive of I actually do have someone decoded some of the messaging on the arm, which was pretty cool.
Holy cow. That was
And-
fast.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't think it's the
Shout
whole
out.
of it.
Shout out to Star Wars fandom. Always
I
count
was-
on him.
I was sent a link if I can find it.
That's anytime I see like any of those scripts, like all of that Arabesh at the end of the episode on Kara's screen, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to write this down.
Yeah, so it says it reads vertically and it says foundling took into ... So like some of it, like it's not completely transcribed properly.
Mhm.
The year, Concord Dawn,
Mhm.
Mentor Foster, Father Fett, Boba Fett.
Hmm.
I like that he
That's
put in his
great.
armor as well. Like, if I lose this armor, please give it back to Mr. Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's
also
got like
a
a
nice-
luggage tag on
Yeah.
it.
And it was a nice kind of callback to like the early episodes, like talking about chain codes and stuff like that. The
Yeah.
language they established in this world now.
Mhm.
And I like how it reiterated the fact that obviously like the whole foundling situation. And Din's like, okay, cool. You can keep it.
It's good enough
Yeah,
for me.
he's like, oh, okay, fine. Have it.
But put that helmet back on and keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Just never take it off again. It's like, okay, whatever.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get sunburnt anyway. Yeah, Boba and Fennec are the dream team I've written here. I love seeing them all together and following that code. Then we see a really like cool shot of Slave One just doing a little flip fly to Navarro. And we find out they're going to try and break out Bill Burr.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
I was
The
just like,
absolute fist pump.
what?
I was more like, him?
Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah, she was like going through the database and I was like, ooh, who's it gonna be? And it's like Bill Burr. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was surprised because he said that he wasn't in this season. So I was like,
Maybe he's
"You
still
little
not.
liar." Who do you reckon they break out?
He
instead?
probably just didn't know. I mean, they filmed it over a year ago, so he probably just thought he was in season 3 or something.
I also love the idea of the two New Republic pilots being like, "You did some good stuff out there, okay? So we'll let you go, and we're gonna save you." And like 2 weeks later, he like breaks the prison.
Right.
There we go.
He's like, guess what? I'm gonna do it again.
Also, now we know what that little thing that he slides across the table to Cara Dune is. She's officially a marshal of the New
Yeah.
Republic. Now we know we're sitting here going, that's a cute little token he gave her. No, she's literally just
It's a job.
it's a job. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I still think it's like a cereal box thing.
I found this in the bottom of my space O's.
Yeah,
On the
space
back it says third
frosted.
place.
Third place.
It's just some little thing he picked up on.
Kara's like, this means I have to follow rules now.
She says like the stripes mean something, but then Din mentions they have the kid, and she's like,
The
Fuck
stripes
it.
mean
she
nothing.
throws it away.
No, yeah. As a huge fan of the prisoner episode from last season, I got really giddy at the idea of Mayfeld coming back, and just this absolute baby squad they're putting together to save this kid is just absolutely nuts. And it's like Din, Boba Fennec, Mayfeld, Kara, Cobb. I don't know.
Grief.
It's
I didn't
gonna
even
be.
think about that.
Bo-Katan,
It's gonna be so wild.
question mark? Yes.
Bo-Katan, who knows? It's gonna be so wild. Though.
Sebastian.
Just him as himself. I don't know if you guys seen that Rick and Morty episode when they put together a crew and they make fun of the fact that like like these films where they put crews together, they always like have these like ridiculous moments, like Ocean's 11. That's all I could think about when he was like, "We're gonna bring him together. We got Boba Fett." I don't know who else we're gonna see next week. I imagine next week will be a prison break episode, and then the finale will take place. I still think that the finale will take place in Camino.
It's a cool idea.
I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, honestly, I don't know what to expect at this point, other than we got to get that baby back.
Mhm.
I don't know what to expect from these next 2 episodes, other than apparently, according to Twitter, I'm about to go on a roller coaster ride, even more so, which I'm not ready for.
I think Bo is a great shout as well, because especially considering who took the baby.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If he's like,
Perfect excuse. We're going there anyway.
She's like, we gotta save this thing again. Already pulled it from the jaws of the mama core.
like you get your sword back. It's like, okay, I get it. I am interested to see where they go with like who they're going to bring on board. If they're going to stick to that main crew. I hope so, because I hope there's enough time for everyone to develop their characters.
Yeah.
Again, the whole Camino thing I think makes sense, because obviously they're going to take Baby Yoda there. And what better person to have than the dude who like grew up there and has like what, 1 billion siblings?
He's like, I know a back door.
That would be cool. Did we skip over Grogu and Gideon?
Oh no, we were just about that's the last part. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot which scene was last.
It's time.
the scene starts off with a sad rendition of the Baby Yoda theme.
Oh.
It's like, how dare you, Ludwig? And then
Tell you where to put that recorder.
that long pipe, you can shove it up your but yeah, you see Grogu. That reminded me, the whole scene actually reminded me of Rebels with Ezra. I kind of wanted Baby Yoda to be like, wait until you find out what my uncle the Emperor, which is still one of my favorite jokes in Star Wars.
Who are you? Jabba the Hutt.
But yeah, he starts, throwing them around. I was like, oh god, this isn't good. Dark side of Ahsoka's right, Although I don't really care that much. I don't care about these guys.
You gotta defend yourself, little man.
Yeah, it's a good way to show that like he's still got some darkness inside of him, but it's like, he's not killing Bo-Katan, so it's fine.
I mean, that whole scene just solidified how much of a monster Gideon is. Because he's like, no, let him get tuckered out.
Yeah.
He's such a little shit. He's like, he calls Grogu it in the scene, which is like, how dare you? He's like, look what I've got a lightsaber. Like,
I feel like we saw a different side of him though. Like even Gideon can't help but be a little bit smiley and giddy around the baby.
Didn't Giancarlo say that in like the press stuff? He said that, I think he said something to that degree about like, just he referenced like a one-on-one scene he had with the puppet. It's like you really have to like control yourself kind of thing.
But
I still think Grogu will get his hands on the Darksaber at some point.
Oh,
Terrifying.
sweet boy.
I also really
Bigger
love
than him.
Gideon. I love Gideon being like, "This look familiar to you?" And it's like, not really. Like they don't really look like
Yeah.
that anymore, man.
It's like, that's kind of weird
Grogu's
looking.
like, I'm not impressed. I don't know.
Yeah. He's like, "We got colors now, man."
We got colors.
It's I did like that because it shows that he isn't just this cool and calm, collective, methodical Imperial. He can't. He's sadistic. Like he can't help being a little bit cocky and be like, "Hey, look, I've got a lightsaber." And like, look at you tucking yourself out. Can we talk about the fact that the Imperials have?
I
baby
really wanted to
cuffs?
talk about the baby handcuffs.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what? No, they're so tiny.
They're so
Locking out
cute and so
kids.
terrible.
That is awful. I didn't even think about that. Like, why do they have those?
How many babies are you arresting?
Right.
Well, I definitely prefer the idea of baby handcuffs, just from an evil standpoint. Is it also possible that the technology is there for handcuffs to like shrink and grow?
That's ridiculous, Nicky.
You
That's
think
Very
you
serious world.
Yeah.
think in the galaxy, they'd have things that would be like, oh, you don't know who you're gonna be arresting, so like, But baby handcuffs is definitely way more mustache twirly villain.
Yeah, those handcuffs were for like Meeber Gascon or something.
You never know when he was gonna snap.
I live for a good Meeber Gascon reference. So thank you for throwing that in there.
Where is Moff Gascon? That's the real
Moff
question.
Gascon.
What did they do with him?
He's above Grand Admiral Thrawn. So we're going to see that Gideon serves Grand Admiral Thrawn, but Thrawn is serving Gascon.
Oh my god.
I'd
The
love to see
absolute
him in a little
endgame.
white suit. Uh-oh. We're
Does
losing-
Meeber wear a cape? That's the real question.
He wears
All
a
the best
Phasma
villains do.
cape on one shoulder.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think you could rock that. My head
beautiful.
But yeah, you've gone straight for the Meeber as the bad guy. I think it'd be great to see Meeber as another gang member that Din picks up.
It's got another D squad.
Well, it's just about a child gone missing.
It's a D for Din now.
Yes.
He goes, "You're a clone in the clone army." He goes, "No, I'm not. I'm Boba Fett."
You know what you're talking about, brother?
Just like the idea of him, like, what are you talking about? Boba Fett, man. Yeah, I'm still hung over the baby cuffs. Why would you make the baby?
Absolutely wild.
Do you think that's the first thing the Emperor did? We need baby cuffs.
Baby cuffs.
Arrest those babies.
It's like,
No.
he can still
Jedi.
use the force if his hands are cuffed together.
Yeah.
Like, he's not punching you. Is that necessary?
It just becomes a manners thing. Like they always like have to shout. It's like, oh, I'm putting these on. You gotta promise not to use the force now, okay? Because they put them on Luke, they put them on Rey, they put them on Grogu. It's like it's the honor code now of a Jedi in cuffs.
Oh my gosh.
In Star Wars,
It's like they always like the Emperor or Snoke will always use the Force to release them. Like, you no longer need those. I'd like to do that for Grogu, and you just
Yeah.
hear like this little like ba-dink as they fall off.
Yes.
He's like
Very silent.
just baby noises following.
Also, you no longer need those. I didn't need those to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. Yeah, I think that's all we've got for this week in terms of the major story beats. So why don't? Oh, also, I guess we have the baby Yoda and Automata. Can we all just go with Zero because he's been a good boy this
He's
week.
been a perfect boy this week.
It's got nothing. No complaints.
He did
Mm-mm.
nothing wrong. We'll go with Zero because bless his heart. And then finally, I guess what our rating would be out of 10 Beskar. Alex and Mollie, do you want to go first?
I think I'm gonna go like a 7, which I like in my book. That's still very good. I still really enjoyed it. Marshall is like a 10. I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8.
I was gonna go 7 just because of how emotionally distraught I was at the end. I literally had to take a nap. I couldn't. I was so sad.
Done with today after that.
If I'm asleep, he won't be kidnapped.
Yeah.
In my dreams, he's with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also for me, 7 is good.
Okay, perfect. Nicky.
Yeah, I guess you guys know how I rate these things. I don't think I'm physically capable of going below 8. So this one hit a lot of awesome buttons for me. Like I said, it was the vaccine. I'm gonna go with 9.7 minus 0.3 for Razor Crest emotional damage. And then, but yeah, no, it was awesome. I think just go from the standpoint of, at least since to whatever degree episode 2 was a break. This, at least since Bo-Katan, it's been a lot each episode to grapple with. And I think when things started coming out that it was only half an hour, I think people were like, oh, this is a breather episode. And
Yeah.
John Favreau was like, fuck your breather. We're going for it. I got Bobby Rodriguez here. We're going to town on this one. So yeah, I'm super excited. I have so many things I'm looking forward to. I have this new fever dream of, or I should say spice dream. I have a new spice dream of
Nice.
the finale or something where Boba's in the slave one and the dark troopers are coming and he's like, don't worry, I'll distract them. And then he drives them off. They're all behind him. And then he just drops a seismic charge
Mm.
and then and wipes out the dark troopers. Give it to me. That's all I got to say. Anyway, yeah. High 9s right here. 9.7. There we go.
I'm trying to work out in a minute the average. I'm terrible at maths, so I don't know how I'm going to get the 9.7. Claire.
So I'm going to give this episode an 8. I think the biggest issue with this episode is that it's in this season. when it comes to rating it, it's because everything has been so good. And it's cheating to have Bo-Katan appear or to have Ahsoka appear when I have to rate the episode, because that will emotionally grip me so much more than a character like Boba Fett, though it still worked its charm. So I would say an 8. There's not a lot to complain about in this episode. I mean, anything really. I'm just going with my heart on this one because I while it was another fantastic episode in this season, didn't emotionally pack a punch quite like the other ones for me. But that being said, really though, I can't. It's so hard to rate these ones. The return of Tamora Morrison in Star Wars was as satisfying as I could have ever imagined it to be. Incredible action, incredible stormtrooper dialogue, sitting on seeing stones and pillars of force energy light. This is just super, super fantastic Star Wars, this episode and this whole season. But I would say if I have to compare it with other episodes in this season, I'd give it an 8.
Oh, interesting. I'm going to go with a 9.5. I love this episode. I think I gave the first episode a 10 maybe, or maybe episode 3. Which is weird. I know ratings you have to say critically, it makes you whatever your favorite is, but I feel like favorites and critically can be different sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be my favorite episode of the season because it just confirms stuff I've wanted for so long. It shows that the show is going down a road that I'm very happy with, and thematically I feel like it's very rewarding for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Also, I love Slave One, so if you put Slave One in something, I'll automatically give it
bonus points.
9.5, and I think overall that sort of rounds out to about an 8 out of 10.
Hey, me.
So not bad.
I'm always
Just
bringing all
also-
the averages down.
Well, everyone rates differently. I was
Right.
aware that point ones were in play here. I was just
Yeah. I also feel like it's really hard for me to rate these episodes until I've seen the whole season, and then I can go back and watch it all again, then I feel like I can better rate which ones I think are like my favorite and which ones I are my not so favorite. But yeah, as I'm watching them, I'm like, I don't know. It was fun. I liked it.
Same.
You gotta live with things for a bit. You know,
Yeah.
it's just how it is. And I also like one thing I want everyone to live with for a little while also is Din Djarin lost his home and his child on the same day.
Oh God.
Oh
And
no.
it's like, what is this
Thanks
man
for
going
that.
through, man? Yeah. What is this man going? Again, Jon Favreau saying, you know, you're not gonna get that breathing time. Sorry. We're going for it.
The only thing worse that they could have done is taken his helmet,
Oh my God.
No, no.
blown it up.
Oh no.
That would be funny if they're trying to blow it up like 6 times. It's like still there, like perfectly fine. But,
Would he still try to cover his face? Like, don't look at me.
Oh no.
I want every gun we have pointed at that helmet.
The stormtrooper ethos.
I'm still of the same mind that it's going to be exactly like Toy Story, where he thinks that he might choke if his helmet's gone. It's like,
Look at me,
one
I'm
little
hideous.
moment. One little moment I do want to just quickly shout out because I forgot is the part where Din's
does that
like,
break our hearts again?
no, this part was fun. Where Din was like, sorry, we're gonna have to go with the windows down the last stretch, and then
Oh,
it just
yeah.
cuts to the
Yes!
jetpack. And you get like the
Again-
little baby laugh like while it goes. It
With
was
the
great.
flapping ears.
Yeah.
Again, just a super dad moment. He's had so many good dad moments in this season. I love it so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the first thing I was going to say, like, just to add to Mollie's point, is that like ratings don't really matter anyway. Like, if you enjoyed the episode, you enjoyed the episode. Like,
Mhm.
no one should ever be like, oh, but you give that rating of like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're
If
gonna
I'm-
hold us to these numbers.
If I'm giggling because I'm having so much fun watching something, like audibly giggling, then it's a good time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing I wanted to point out was that have you guys seen the Spy Kids Mandalorian like comparisons?
No, I've
No.
seen people talking about it, but I
So
have not
good.
seen Spy Kids, so
Oh man.
I think the last time I saw Spy Kids was in the theater.
I watched that first one like a fiend. That DVD must have like just lines on it from how many times that was played.
Oh my.
There, yeah, I recommend looking at that up on Twitter because it's just a joy. It's like a scene where there's like this like, ridiculous like glasses folding outwards, like scanning something, and everyone's like, "It's Boba Fett."
I mean, that's the thing. Also, like
And then there's
Robert
another scene
Rodriguez.
where like there's a character like flight with a jetpack.
Yeah. Well, like just filmmaking wise, like he leaned in really hard on the digital early 2000s, just like George did. So there's a very sort of similar director ethos in that regard too. But yeah, there we go.
Heck yeah.
Definitely. Right, I think that's all we've got time for this week. Alex and Mollie, where can people find you? Plug your stuff.
We are on YouTube at Star Wars Explained and on Twitter and Instagram, also at Star Wars Explained.
Yep. I'm also floating around social media at Mollie Damon.
We talk about The Mandalorian too.
Hey,
Then you also have Twitch channels as well.
Well, we've been too busy to stream
Yeah.
lately, but we plan to continue to stream at some point. I'm at Mollie Damon on Twitch.
And I'm Alex Damon Live.
Awesome. If you like this video, don't forget to like the video. I love saying that. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so that you're the first to know when we have new content out. I looked at the like people watching our videos. There's like 80% normal subscribers. So if you want to subscribe, that'd be awesome. If you don't, I'm not going to force you.
Do it. You're watching
What
the
a-
videos. Just
What
do
a
it.
pitch. What a pitch.
Do it
If
or
you
don't. I'm not your mom.
It'd be pretty cool though, yeah. Like I don't want to force you. Like if you just want to subscribe, it'd be cool.
Also, literally right now, my reaction video to this episode has popped on to our YouTube's channels.
ooh,
Well, channel singular. So go check that out. See how I felt about
clicking.
it. in the moment.
Yeah, and don't forget, like, this is really cool. This is the cool stuff we do on YouTube, but our main show, the main bulk, what we've been doing for like 4 years now, is our podcast, the Imperial Senate Podcast, which is available on all good podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and anything else. Stitcher, that's it. You can also follow us. This is a really like lazy one to this week. You can follow us on Twitter at ImpSenatePod and on Instagram, which is at Imperial Senate Pod. We have a Discord and Twitch, and you can find links to those as well as everything else we've mentioned on our official website, which is at imperialsenatepodcast.com.
Okay.
And finally, if you'd like to help support the show, you can do so by picking up some sweet swag from tpublic.com/user/the Imperial Senate Podcast, or by becoming a patron on our Patreon page. Or ignore me and just click. If you look at the description, it's all there anyway.
That too.
You know, that too. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. The Force will be with you always.